You've seen a face where there wasn't one, a power outlet that looks perpetually startled, the front of a car that seems to be smiling or scowling at you, a cloud with a distinct profile, two knots in a wooden door that become eyes, with a third mark below forming a little surprised mouth, the foam on your coffee, a burned piece of toast, the pattern on a shower curtain, and suddenly someone is looking back at you. You know, instantly and completely that it's not really a face. And yet you cannot stop seeing it as one. But the real answer is far stranger than a trick of the light. This experience of seeing faces in random objects is not a mistake, not a sign of an overactive imagination, and not a glitch. It is the visible edge of one of the most powerful, specialized, and hair-trigger systems in your entire brain. A system so obsessed with finding faces that it constantly finds them where none exist. When you see a face in a cloud, or a car, or an electrical socket, you are catching your own brain in the middle of doing something it does every waking second, scanning the world with relentless intensity for the single most important pattern a human being can encounter: another face. And once you understand why that system is so aggressive, so willing to be wrong, you will never look at those accidental faces or your own mind quite the same way again. Let's start with the name, because this phenomenon has one. It's called pareidolia, the tendency to perceive a meaningful pattern, most often a face, in random or ambiguous visual information. And the first clue to what's really going on is just how instant and automatic it is. You don't decide to see the face in the outlet. You don't reason your way to it. It's simply there, immediately, fully formed, before any conscious thought. Even when you know for certain it's just two screws and a slot, the face does not go away. You can't unsee it. That combination, instant, automatic, and stubbornly resistant to what you know to be true, is a fingerprint. It tells you this isn't happening in the slow, deliberate part of your mind. It's happening in fast, automatic, specialized machinery, deep below awareness. And it turns out your brain has exactly that: dedicated hardware for faces. There is a region in your brain on the underside of the temporal lobe called the fusiform face area. And its job is startlingly specific. It responds powerfully to faces, far more than to almost any other category of object. Your brain does not treat a face like just another thing in the visual world, a chair, a rock, a tree. It pulls faces out for special priority processing, running them through circuitry that exists more or less for that one purpose. You have, quite literally, a face detector built into your visual system. And studies of pareidolia have shown something remarkable. When people look at objects that appear to have faces, this same face processing machinery activates, treating the illusory face, at least at first, a little like a real one. Your brain isn't just loosely pattern matching. It's routing that smiling car grill through the very same specialized system it uses for human beings. So why would evolution build a face detector this sensitive, this eager, this willing to fire at car bumper and coffee foam? The answer takes us deep into your survival and into the survival of every ancestor who came before you. For a social species like ours, almost nothing in the environment matters more than faces. A face tells you whether the creature in front of you is a member of your group or a stranger. It tells you if they're angry or friendly, threatening or safe. It reveals attention. Are they looking at you or away? It broadcasts emotion, intention, health, identity. For millions of years, The ability to rapidly detect and read faces was not a nicety. It was the difference between spotting a predator's stare in the underbrush and missing it, between reading an ally's warning in time and walking into an ambush, between noticing a rival's hostility and being caught off guard. In a world where other creatures could help you or kill you, the face was the single richest source of survival information available. And so the pressure to get very, very good at detecting faces and to do it fast was immense. Now here's the key insight, the one that explains the whole strange phenomenon. When a detection system is dealing with something that matters enormously for survival, evolution does not tune it to be accurate. It tunes it to be safe. And safe for a face detector means something very specific. It means erring heavily toward false alarm. Think about the two ways a face detector can be wrong. The first mistake is a false positive, seeing a face when there isn't one. You glance at a shadowy bush, your brain shouts, "face," and it turns out to be just leaves. The cost of this error? Almost nothing. A tiny jolt, a moment of misplaced attention, and you move on. The second mistake is a false negative, failing to see a face when there actually is one. There is a real creature there, watching you, and your brain fails to flag it. The cost of that error over evolutionary time could be everything. A missed predator, an unseen threat, a fatal moment of inattention. When one type of error is nearly free and the other can get you killed, there is no contest. Evolution builds a system that fires early and often, that would far rather cry face 1,000 times at clouds and outlets and pieces of toast than stay silent one time when a real face, a real threat is present. Your brain is running a deep ancient calculation. It is better to jump at 100 imaginary faces than to miss a single real one. Pareidolia is not a flaw in that system. Pareidolia is that system working exactly as designed. The visible cause of a detector deliberately tuned to never, ever miss. And this reframes the whole experience beautifully. Every time you see a face in an object, you are not glitching. You are witnessing the output of a hyper-vigilant survival system that kept your ancestors alive, still running at full power in a modern world full of machine-made shapes it was never designed for. Car headlights and grills, electrical sockets, buttons and dials, cabinet handles, the arrangement of a few dots and a line. All of it happens to trip a detector built for the savannah. You are surrounded by accidental faces precisely because your brain is so magnificently, protectively eager to find the real ones. There's even reason to think this bias is woven into us from the very beginning. Newborn infants, just hours and days old with almost no visual experience of the world, will preferentially turn towards simple face-like patterns, 2 dots above a third, over the same elements scrambled, before they've learned much of anything. Before they understand what a face even is, human babies are already drawn to that configuration. The pull toward faces appears to be, in large part, built in, part of the standard equipment of being born human. We arrive already looking for faces. We spend our whole lives finding them, real and imaginary alike. So the next time a startled electrical outlet looks back at you, or a car grins in a parking lot, or you catch a face staring out from the grain of a wooden floor, don't dismiss it as a silly trick of the mind. Recognize it for the small marvel it is. In that instant, a piece of ancient life-preserving machinery forged over millions of years and prisoned in you from birth is doing its tireless job, sweeping the world for the most important thing your ancestors ever needed to find. It will rather show you 1,000 faces that aren't there than let you miss the one that is. The grinning car, the surprised outlet, the face in the clouds. These are not errors. They are love letter from a brain that is trying with everything it has to keep you safe. You came here wondering why you see faces in random objects. But the real answer was never about clouds or cars or coffee foam. It was about the astonishing, invisible vigilance running beneath every moment of your life. A system so devoted to protecting you that it would rather be wrong 1,000 times than miss the one thing that matters. Those phantom faces are the fingerprints of that devotion. Small daily proof that some part of you, older and deeper than thought, is always watching, always scanning, always ready, so that you never have to be caught looking the other way.